This happened a few years ago when I was 24. I was working as a pizza delivery driver at night. It wasn't too bad at first. The routes took me through a dull industrial area with flickering streetlights. Sometimes, though, things got weird. One night, I had to deliver a pizza to a warehouse that looked abandoned. The door was cracked open, and it felt oddly inviting. I knocked, hoping to hand over the pizza. Instead, I heard muffled voices. They were low and soft, like whispers. I couldn't make out what they were saying. Maybe it was just a group of homeless people, I thought. A chill ran down my spine, and I quickly left the pizza at the door. I tried not to think about it. The next couple of nights, things got even stranger. I started getting odd orders. One time, I had to deliver a pizza to a broken-down car parked in the shadows. The instructions were vague, and I had a creepy feeling. While driving, I could have sworn I heard laughter. It sounded distant and echoed around me. Maybe I was imagining things. Maybe someone was out there watching me. As I continued driving around, I began seeing shadowy figures in the windows of those old warehouses. They'd disappear as soon as I turned my head. My heart raced. I struggled to breathe and felt like I was being watched. I thought it was just stress from working those late shifts, but every time I turned to look, no one was there. It left me feeling uneasy, more anxious than before. Then there was that one night that changed everything. I parked in front of an old factory. My headlights cast long shadows on the pavement. I grabbed the pizza box and walked to the entrance. That laughter started again, but this time it was closer. It sent another chill through me. I glanced back at my car, feeling like someone was right behind me. I stood there, unsure what to do. Should I call out? Should I turn around? That laughter was so strange and unsettling. I took a deep breath and approached the door, but when I turned back, the laughter stopped. "Hello?" I yelled into the darkness. There was nothing. My instincts kicked in, and I dropped the pizza. I ran back to my car, fumbling with my keys. All I wanted was to lock the doors and drive away. I could still feel that presence, whatever it was, watching me. Even now, I can't explain those moments. They replay in my mind like a broken record. Sometimes I wonder if my tired brain was just playing tricks on me. Other times, I feel like something was there, hiding in the shadows. If I could go back, I don't know if I would have avoided those eerie shifts altogether. There's a part of me that thinks about it all the time. I still remember that laughter. It's haunting. The night after that unsettling experience, I tried to shake off the feeling. Still, I was restless. My mind wouldn't let go of the memory. That laughter echoed in my thoughts. Throughout the day, I found myself glancing over my shoulder, half expecting to see something lurking in the shadows. When I pulled into the parking lot that night, the familiar rows of warehouses looked more menacing than ever. I took a deep breath and reminded myself it was just a job. I opened my car's door and wrapped my fingers around the pizza box. It felt heavier than usual. My first delivery was to a location I had never been to before. It was an old depot tucked behind a line of trees that whispered in the wind. The address was scribbled hastily on my order sheet. As I approached, a sense of unease settled over me. I hesitated. Then I saw it, motion behind a broken window. A shadow darted past, a quick flicker that sent a jolt through me. I walked up to the entrance, and my heart thumped louder. The door was ajar, just like the warehouse before. I could hear faint whispers again, but this time they were different, more urgent. My instinct screamed for me to leave, but I couldn't just abandon the pizza. "Hello?" I called out. My voice felt small against the backdrop of silence. The whispers stopped. Only silence answered me this time. I leaned in closer, peering into the darkness. That's when I saw it. A figure crouched in the corner. My pulse quickened and panic surged. Was it a person? Was it one of the shadowy figures I had seen before? I turned to leave, my legs moving before my mind could process what was happening. But just as I reached for the doorknob, I heard a voice. It wasn't a whisper. It was clear and chilling. "Stay." What? I froze, confusion gripping me. I tried to rationalize it, thinking maybe I had just imagined it. I looked back, heart pounding. The figure was gone, replaced by thick darkness. Fueled by adrenaline, I sprinted back to my car. As I started the engine, I glanced in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see someone behind me. Nothing, just dull pavement stretching behind me. While I delivered the remaining pizzas that night, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being followed. Distracted at every stop, I felt eyes on me, burning into my back. It was a relief when my shift ended. I finally parked my car and locked the doors, ready to escape the creeping dread. But when I stepped out, everything changed. My phone buzzed. A message popped up. "Delivery to 7th Street, warehouse at the end. You'll see me there." A chill slid down my spine. I hadn't taken any orders for 7th Street. Who was this? Why did they want me to come? I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Every last nerve in my body screamed to stay away. But I found myself driving toward that warehouse anyway. I felt drawn to it, like it was calling for me. As I pulled up, I could see shadows shifting inside through the grimy windows. The shadows danced erratically, and I felt my stomach drop. I took a deep breath, trying to convince myself that it was nothing. Maybe it was just the wind or a trick of the light. But the unease sat heavy in my chest as I stared at the warehouse. I shut off the engine and grabbed the pizza, my hands shaking slightly. The atmosphere felt charged, electric. Maybe it was just my nerves, but I thought I could hear faint laughter again, echoing in the distance. I didn't remember feeling this afraid before. I had made late-night deliveries countless times, but this felt different, like stepping into a horror movie. I stepped out of the car and walked toward the entrance, noting how the night air felt colder. As I reached for the door, I heard it again, clearer this time. "Come in." I froze. There it was, the same voice from before, but this time it sounded closer. I glanced around, half expecting someone to jump out from behind the trees. Taking a gamble, I pushed the door open. The hinges creaked ominously, and dim light illuminated a small waiting area. The interior was cluttered with old furniture and boxes stacked haphazardly, creating a maze of shadows. Uneasy, I called out, "Is anyone here?" No response, just the sound of my own voice bouncing back at me. I stepped further inside, holding the pizza like a shield. The floorboards groaned underfoot, and every little sound sent nerves racing through my body. I looked around, searching for any sign of life. Then I noticed something odd on the wall. A series of photographs, yellowed and curling at the edges. I took a closer look. Each picture depicted a delivery driver in various poses, some smiling, some looking scared. A chill ran down my spine as I recognized the latest photo. It was me, my face trapped in my own stunned expression, standing right outside this warehouse. What the hell? My heart raced, and an overwhelming urge to leave washed over me. Just as I turned to bolt, I heard it again. "Stay." The voice echoed, now sounding more urgent. My instincts kicked in. I needed to get out. I darted toward the exit, but the door slammed shut in front of me. Panic surged as I rattled the doorknob. It wouldn't budge. "Let me out," I shouted, but my voice was swallowed by the dim silence. Then, just beyond the door, I saw a shadow stretching toward me. My breath caught. It moved swiftly, gliding with an unnatural fluidity. Suddenly, the door swung open, and before I could react, a hand reached out, pulling me into the darkness. Everything blurred around me. I was yanked into a different area of the warehouse, into a room filled with flickering fluorescent lights and heavy machinery. The hand that grabbed me was cold and clammy. "Deliveries are important here," the figure said, their voice oddly soft yet commanding. I finally faced whoever had taken me, heart racing. But before I could utter a word, the lights flickered violently, and I heard a loud crash from the shadows. I turned, adrenaline coursing through me. That's when I saw it, a terrible, dark shape looming at the far end, a figure hunched over something I couldn't see. Its laughter echoed through the room, chilling me to my core. This was no ordinary delivery, and I was trapped. The room was stifling, the fluorescent lights buzzing like angry wasps. My heart raced, and I couldn't take my eyes off the dark shape. It seemed to pulse, shifting slightly as if it were alive. I stood frozen in place, the pizza still clutched in my hands like a pathetic token of normalcy. "Who are you?" I finally managed to whisper, my voice barely breaking through the oppressive silence. The cloaked figure turned, revealing a face shrouded in shadow. "Not who, but what," it said, its voice a harsh whisper that scraped against my skin. I backed away slowly, trying to distance myself from the creature looming in the corner. But the more I moved, the more I sensed it was watching me, doing calculations only it could comprehend. I needed to break the stare, to escape before it was too late. "Let me go!" I yelled, a surge of defiance pushing me forward. I darted to my right, eager to find an alternative exit, searching the room frantically. But each way seemed to close in, the shelves lined with tools and boxes looming like teeth around me. Suddenly, the laughter burst forth again from the dark figure, wild and chaotic. "You can't leave yet. The pizza isn't just for eating," it sneered. "What do you mean?" I shot back, my mind racing. The tension in the air was palpable. "What do you want from me?" With a swift motion, the figure pointed toward the far wall. My eyes followed, and I noticed something moving in the shadows. Another delivery driver, tied to a chair, eyes wide with terror. The realization hit me like a punch. It was one of the faces in the photographs. "Help!" the driver yelled, but his voice was drowned out by the creature's laughter. I exchanged a fleeting look with him, recognizing the same panic that I felt now. I couldn't let this fate be mine. I had to act fast. There was a window high above the far wall, its glass dusty and cracked. Without thinking, I sprinted toward it, adrenaline fueling my movements. The creature roared in anger, and I could hear footsteps behind me, fast and relentless. I reached the wall just as a clawed hand grazed my back. Pain shot through me, but I didn't look back. I leapt, using every ounce of strength to push against the wall. My fingers barely grasped the ledge. They held. I pulled myself up, my heart in my throat. As I hoisted myself through the window, the chill of the night air hit me. I instantly felt alive again, but the rush of freedom was short-lived. A scream pierced the air, echoing behind me. The last thing I saw was the dark shape crashing against the wall where I had just been. The driver's eyes widened in horror, a silent plea that would haunt me forever. I scrambled out of the warehouse and hit the ground running, the laughter fading into the night behind me. I didn't stop until I reached my car, fumbling to unlock the door. Later that night, I couldn't shake the image of the creature or the trapped driver from my mind. I might have escaped, but something told me it wasn't finished with me yet. I threw the pizza onto the passenger seat, not caring where it landed. A chill ran down my spine as I looked back at the warehouse, the shadows now still. But I knew, deep down, they were just waiting for my return. I gripped the steering wheel, determination rising. I needed to understand what I had seen. I couldn't leave it like this. That was the moment I knew. The nightmare was just beginning. The next day, I barely slept. My mind raced, replaying every moment from the warehouse. The driver tied up and the laughter still echoed in my ears. I needed answers. I drove to the neighborhood where I had delivered the pizza, hoping to find someone who could explain what I had stumbled into. As I parked, the sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows on the ground. The streets were quieter than usual, an unsettling stillness that made my skin crawl. It was as if the world held its breath, waiting for something to happen. I took a deep breath and stepped out of the car. I approached the first house, an old brick building with peeling paint. I knocked hesitantly, my heart racing. A woman in her 50s answered the door. Her expression shifted from confusion to concern as I asked about the warehouse. "The old pizza place? You shouldn't be going there," she warned, her voice trembling. "People have gone missing." "What do you mean?" I pressed, desperate for information. She glanced down the street, then leaned closer. "There's been talk in the neighborhood. Those who go to deliver, they don't always come back. You think the police don't know? They've been investigating, but what can they do?" Her eyes darted behind me, as if expecting something to appear from the shadows. I nodded, trying to hold back my rising panic. I needed more. "Have you seen a driver from last night?" She shook her head. "I've heard stories, strange ones, but those who see things often don't make it out." She stepped back, fear evident in her eyes. "You should go. Just leave." A chill coursed through me. I turned away, feeling the weight of her words. If what she said was true, I had to act. I couldn't leave the driver behind or let this go unchallenged. I walked down the block, my mind racing with possibilities. That's when I saw it. An old delivery car parked at the curb, its paint faded and chipped. My heart skipped a beat. It was identical to the one I drove. I took a few cautious steps closer and peered inside. The interior was covered in dust. But something caught my attention, a crumpled receipt on the floor mat. My hands shook as I picked it up. The name on the receipt was familiar. It was the driver from the warehouse. I glanced around, and a brutal cold swept through me. I wasn't alone. I could feel eyes on me. My breath quickened as I scanned the area, panic rising in my chest. A figure stood at the end of the street, shrouded in twilight shadows. It was watching me. Then, without warning, it turned and bolted down an alley. "Hey!" I shouted, instinctively pursuing it. My legs moved before I could think straight. As I rounded the corner, I saw the figure slip through a gate before disappearing into the overgrown yard of a dilapidated house. I hesitated, my instincts screaming at me to stop. I was chasing something I couldn't understand, but I couldn't back down now. The ghost of the last driver steered me forward. The gate creaked ominously as I pushed it open, heart pounding. Whatever was out there had answers, and I was determined to find them. What lay ahead could change everything. Before I could step further into the dark yard, a sharp laugh echoed from within, a sound that sent chills down my spine. I was about to discover the truth, and the truth was going to reach out. I froze, the laughter echoing in the air like a warning. The yard was thick with weeds, and debris littered the ground. I took a cautious step forward, my mind racing. What was I getting myself into? A broken swing swayed in the wind, creaking softly. I glanced back toward the street, but no one was there. Just silence, stretching out like a coiled spring ready to snap. Summoning my courage, I edged closer to the house. Every step felt like an invitation to the unseen horrors lurking within. Peering through a cracked window, I caught a glimpse of movement. Shadows danced across the walls, and I could hear muffled voices. One voice stood out. It had a strangely jovial tone, cutting through the jazz of unease filling my chest. I pressed my face against the cold glass, trying to make sense of what was happening inside. Then, everything shifted. A face flashed by the window, eyes wide and full of fear. It was a man, disheveled and wild. My gut twisted. I didn't know if he was captive or part of the idiosyncratic scene. He disappeared into the other room, but the laughter, that same sinister laughter, returned and morphed into jeering. They were playing with someone, or something. I pulled back instinctively and stumbled. A sharp stone dug into my knee. I hissed, but quickly silenced myself, listening. The laughter grew louder now, accompanied by the unmistakable sounds of shuffling. They were coming my way. I pressed myself against the wall, panic clawing at my throat. Then, as if fate had a twisted sense of humor, the back door creaked open. A figure stepped out, silhouetted against the dim light from inside. I couldn't see their face, but I could feel their presence like ice on my skin. I held my breath, praying they wouldn't notice me. Suddenly, a loud crash rang out from inside the house, and the figure turned sharply, the moment of distraction giving me an opportunity to retreat. I ducked behind a bush, heart pounding hard against my ribs. I could see their shadow moving closer, but I dared not breathe. From my vantage point, I caught a glimpse of an open door, the eerie laughter still spilling out like dark smoke. If I wanted answers, I would have to be brave enough to face whatever lay ahead. But what lay beyond that door was still unknown, and I had to ask myself if I was ready to find out. In an impulsive moment, I decided to make a move. I slipped around the edge of the house, glancing back at the dim light of the open door, feeling an urge to rush in. But the shadow still lingered, frozen at the threshold. It turned its head slightly, and I felt a rush of cold. I was hidden, but not safe. With my heart racing, I steadied myself and whispered, "I just want to help." The words hung in the air like a fragile promise. But would I be able to carry it through, or were the whispers of warning too profound to ignore? Then I heard a low mutter from inside, barely audible yet full of weight. A name. Mine. Unmistakably mine. Suddenly, the shadows moved. The figure at the door stepped back, and I held my breath, every fiber of my being screaming to run. But my curiosity kept me rooted. I had to know why they were calling me and what they wanted. I took a breath, steeling myself for what lay ahead. The truth was slipping closer, and it had my name on it. I stepped back, my heart thudding against my ribs. The door was an invitation and a warning all at once. I had to decide. I'd come this far. Backing away now felt like defeat. With a deep breath, I moved closer, the rusted hinges of the door squeaking ominously as I pulled it ajar. The scent of something stale and almost sweet wafted toward me, making my stomach turn. The laughter was now replaced by a thick silence, void of any merriment. "Hello?" I called, forcing my dialogue to break through the heavy air. It felt like a mistake the moment I heard it echo back, swallowed by the darkness inside. No answer came, only the sound of my own breath felt cruelly loud in the stillness. Tension filled the space as I took a step past the threshold, into an entryway filled with faded wallpaper peeling off the walls. A startled rustle made me jump. "Is someone there?" I shuffled further in, each creak of the floorboards beneath me echoing in the silence. The room opened up into a wide space filled with overturned furniture and strange symbols painted in dark paint on the walls. It felt unsettling, like an abandoned set from a twisted play. I searched for movement, but found none. Then, from the corner of my eye, something shifted, a shadow darting past a doorway down the hall. I froze, caught between my instinct to run and my insatiable curiosity. "Please," I murmured, "I just want to help." I crept toward the hallway, my pulse thrumming as I noticed faint light spilling from a room ahead. The laughter was gone, but the jovial voice returned, now distorted and heavy with something sinister. "You shouldn't have come here." It was a warning, a mantra. As I pressed further into the dark, I stumbled into the open doorway. There, in the dim light, I spotted the man I had seen through the window. He was tied to an old folding chair, eyes wide with fear, dirty and frantic. "Get out!" he shouted, his voice raw. "They'll find you!" My instincts told me to bolt, but my heart defied logic. I took a step closer. "Who are they?" I asked, desperation spilling from my lips. Before he could answer, a loud crash sounded behind me. The laughter rose again, wild and chaotic. Something gripped my arm, yanking me back. I turned to face the figure from before, now illuminated by a flickering bulb. Their face was obscured by shadows, but I could see a manic grin stretching across their lips. "You've come for the fun, haven't you?" They beckoned me closer. "Join us." Panic surged within me. "No, let him go!" I shouted, anger fueling my voice. But they only chuckled, tilting their head as if I was an amusing puzzle. In that instant, something shifted in the air. A presence, heavy and electric, surrounded us. Then everything went dark, complete, suffocating dark. I could no longer see the man, nor the figure. Only a shroud of fear enveloped me as I struggled to breathe. Then, just when I thought I was lost, I felt a sudden tug, a sharp pull toward the void. Whatever was in the dark wanted me, needed me. And just like that, the laughter echoed again, this time sounding closer, sharper, almost excited. I was standing on the edge of something I couldn't name, and I had no idea which way I was falling. I couldn't tell if seconds or hours had passed before
the darkness receded. My vision blurred back into focus, but the world around me was distorted. I was no longer in the room I had entered. The walls shimmered as if they were alive, pulsating with a faint glow. The laughter rang all around me, twisting and turning, bouncing off the walls like a trapped thing. Then I caught sight of him. The man in the chair was now standing, his bonds magically undone, looking around as dazed as I felt. "Where are we?" he asked, panic lacing his words. "I don't know," I replied, my voice rising in desperation. "I just wanted to help." The shadows danced at the edge of light, teasing my vision. Then I saw them, figures coming closer, stepping out from the gloom like nightmares given form. They moved fluidly, smiles plastered across their faces, but there was no warmth in those smiles. They looked dangerously happy, as if our fear was a source of delight. "Come and play," one of them called out, their voice syrupy sweet and utterly wrong. With a quick glance back, I could see the way the man's fear turned to horror. "We have to get out of here," he shouted, but it was too late. One of the figures lunged for him, fingers outstretched. I moved instinctively, grabbing his arm, and together we spun to run. But the figures were everywhere now, laughing, mocking. I felt their cold breath at my neck as we dashed through the twisted hallways, the laughter now a cacophony, urging us to stop. "We can't split up," I yelled, grabbing his hand tightly. "Stick with me." As we turned, I stumbled, my foot catching on something. Crumpled papers scattered across the ground. I glanced down, catching an almost illegible glimpse of a name hastily scribbled. Carter. That name resonated within me like a bell. Was it his name? "Carter," I shouted as we regained our balance, fear loosening my hold. "Is that you?" He glanced back at me, confusion shadowing his features. "Yes, but we have to move." Ignoring my racing heart, I pressed on. "Carter, what's happening? Who are they?" He didn't answer. The figures were closing in now, flanking us like wolves, ready to pounce. "Carter," I pressed, frustration boiling over. "Talk to me." That's when I saw it, he whispered suddenly, his voice shaking. "Look." Turning my head, my gaze followed where he pointed, and my breath hitched in my throat. In the center of the swirling chaos was an old mirror. It stood tall, reflecting the light in a way that made it appear almost alive. Within its depths, I glimpsed something move, something familiar and horrifying. Before I could take it all in, one of the figures darted forward, reaching for me. "Join us!" they cried, their fingers brushing my skin with icy intent. Instinctively, I yanked Carter with me toward the mirror, a singular reckless thought fueling my movements. What if we can escape through it? We plunged toward the mirror. But whether it was salvation or destruction, I couldn't tell. All I knew was that we had to act, and fast. Just as the figures lunged, a blinding flash consumed us, and everything vanished once again into darkness. I blinked, and suddenly I was standing on solid ground again. The air felt different, cooler and sharper. The chaos faded like a bad dream, and I found myself in a narrow alley, the darkness replaced with a sliver of moonlight. Carter still stood beside me, scanning our surroundings with wide eyes. "Where are we?" he whispered, his voice trembling. "I don't know," I admitted, glancing back toward the direction we had come. The alley seemed empty, but I could still hear echoes of the laughter lingering in the air like a haunting melody. Carter's breath came out in short gasps. "What just happened?" "Those figures, they were after us." I felt a shudder creep down my spine. The memory of their smiles twisted my stomach. We have to keep moving. As we walked cautiously down the alley, I noticed something strange. The walls were covered in graffiti, bright colors splashing against the brick. Yet the images themselves were distorted. Faces melted into grotesque shapes, and shadows seemed to writhe around the painted figures. It felt surreal, like we had stepped into a warped version of reality. "Did you see anything in that mirror?" Carter asked, breaking the silence. I don't know," I stammered, at a loss for words. "Something moved, but I don't think we should discuss it here." The alley opened into a deserted street, the streetlights flickering like old film reels. A chill ran through me as I observed what lay ahead: abandoned cars, shattered glass, and an unsettling stillness. "Where are everyone?" I muttered, fear creeping back in. His eyes darted around. "Let's find a place to hide." "No," I said firmly. "We can't just wait here. We have to figure out what's happening." Before he could respond, a sound startled us. A low, guttural whispering came from behind the cars. My pulse quickened, and I felt panic rise in my throat. We weren't alone. "Shh," I urged, gripping Carter's arm tightly as I pulled him toward an old, dilapidated storefront. The windows were covered in grime, obscuring what lay inside. "We can hide in there." As we slid through the broken door, it creaked ominously, like a warning of what we might find. Inside, the air was stale, filled with the scent of mildew and decay. My eyes adjusted to the dim light, and I noticed the shelves were lined with dusty jars, each one filled with something unidentifiable. "What is this place?" Carter breathed, peering into a jar. "It looks like I don't even know." "Just keep your voice down," I whispered, studying the shadows cast by flickering bulbs. Something was off. The silence felt heavy, like an unseen weight pressing down on us. I rubbed my forearm, a cold chill running through my veins. Then, out of nowhere, a noise rang out, a soft scratching, followed by a faint giggle. It echoed within the confines of the store, a sound too close for comfort. We shared a wide-eyed glance, the weight of fear hanging between us. "We need to go," Carter said, backing away. But before we could turn to leave, the scratching grew louder, more frantic. My heart raced. Something was inside this place with us. I reached for the door, but it slammed shut on its own, sealing us in. And then I saw it. A figure emerging from the shadows, its eyes reflecting the dim light with an unsettling gleam. I realized with dread that we were not safe. The figure stepped into the light, revealing a face twisted into a chilling smile, eyes gleaming with a mad sort of delight. I felt Carter tense beside me, his breathing quickening with palpable fear. "What do you want from us?" I shouted, my voice cracking as I looked for any means of escape. There was a curious tilt to the creature's head,
as if my question amused it. "Want? Oh, we just want to play," it said, its voice dripping with a honeyed tone that belied the danger it posed. "You came to our little domain, didn't you? You were curious." In that moment, the lights flickered, casting eerie shadows that danced across the walls. A rush of memories flooded my mind. The warehouse, the laughter, the terrified man, everything converging into a single realization. This wasn't just a haunted space. It was a gathering place for something darker, something deeply rooted in these mundane streets. I backed away, but felt the cold texture of the door at my spine. Turning to Carter, I frantically signaled him to follow my lead. "On three," I whispered, "we push together." The creature let out a giggle that made my skin crawl, as if it could sense our desperation. "Going somewhere?" it taunted, stepping closer, its features sharpening in the dim light. I nodded to Carter, and we lunged. My shoulder collided with the door, and to my surprise, it split open, shattering our prison. We barreled into the alley, the nighttime air hitting me like a wall of icy water, invigorating yet terrifying. "Keep running," I shouted, leading him down the alleyway. The laughter echoed behind us, echoing off the walls, weaving through the empty streets like a living thing. I could feel the presence of the creature hunting us, following close behind, an unseen predator stalking its prey. Suddenly we rounded a corner into the main street, and everything fell silent. Confused, I skidded to a halt. The empty roads felt wrong, like a scene out of a ghost story. No cars, no lights, the air itself missing the sounds of life. "What now?" Carter's voice trembled beside me. "Look," I pointed ahead. A dim light flickered from a building up the street. It wasn't the warehouse. I didn't know what awaited inside, but we barely had
A choice. "Let's go," I urged, leading us toward the light. As we approached, dread sank in. It was a small diner that looked forgotten, but strangely familiar. Memories flooded back to the late-night pizza deliveries, the flickering glow of the diner sign illuminating nights filled with fatigue and laughter. "Do you think anyone's in there?" Carter asked, glancing back nervously. "Only one way to find out." With a deep breath, I pushed the door open. The smell of grease and stale coffee hit us instantly. The diner was empty, except for a flickering neon sign and an old jukebox in the corner that began to play an eerie, distorted tune. We stepped inside, cautiously, the door creaking behind us as I closed it. "Look!" Carter pointed to a booth in the back where pictures hung on the wall. Each face seemed familiar, etched into my memory. Delivery drivers, waitresses, people from my life I didn't quite recognize until they smiled in eerie unison. The jarring laughter started again, clearer this time, puncturing the stillness. I turned to see the diner's lights sputter, casting shadows that twisted into familiar forms. I stumbled back, my heart racing. Was this how it ended? Trapped in a never-ending cycle of deliveries and darkness? The laughter grew louder, engulfing me, filling my ears as the light from the jukebox flicked chaotic colors across the walls. Suddenly, in the blink of an eye, the diner morphed. The walls warped and pulsated like the mirror we fled before. We were no longer in the diner. The laughter tore through the seams of reality. "Carter!" I shouted, but his figure began to fade, lost in the swirling shadows that ensnared us, dragging him into the void. "No!" I reached for him, but thunderous laughter erupted around me, spiraling into chaos. As I fell to my knees, the world around me dissolved into fragments, pieces of memories crashing together. In that final instant, as the darkness closed in, I could still hear the faint echoes of laughter, of voices urging me to join the game, join the play. Then everything shifted again. I found myself back in the familiar driver's seat of my old delivery car, the late-night streets stretching on endlessly before me. Trees whispered in the wind, and the headlights illuminated the road ahead.
Was it a nightmare? Had I truly escaped? But in the stillness, a chilling realization settled in my heart. I now felt the urge to make another delivery, the road beckoning towards a destination I couldn't see. I gripped the steering wheel, uncertainty swirling within me. Whatever that laughter meant, and whatever waited in the shadows, would always be a part of me now. And as I continued driving on, I couldn't help but wonder, was this escape, or was it just the beginning of a different story?